Hurry up, join in, bro. We got to go in today. We're gonna be looking at some sources describing California Indians, bro. Remember how I told y'all maybe a couple videos before that these California Indians really show the black profile, the Negroid profile very well. There's so much documented history about this. Let's get into this right away, y'all. Also, it's gonna be hard for y'all to really call this conjecture and not fact. Like, it's super hard. This author is using other sources, other journals, not just his own. So let's get into it. All right, y'all know what the deal. Let's read together, y'all. So it says, some ethnologists see in the Californians a stock different from any other American race. But the more I dwell upon the subject, the more convinced I am that, except in the broader distinction, specific classifications of humanity are but idle speculations. Their height rarely exceeds 5 feet 8 inches and is more frequently 5 feet 4 or 5 inches. And although strongly, they are seldom symmetrically built, meaning they're not tall. They're more wide than tall guys. And a low, retreating forehead, black, deep-set eyes, thick, bushy eyebrows, salient cheekbones, a nose depressed at the root and somewhat wide-spreading at the nostrils, a large mouth with thick, prominent lips, teeth large and white but not always regular, and rather large ears is the prevailing type. Their complexion is much darker than that of the tribes farther north, often being nearly black. So that with their matted, bushy matted hair, you guys, which is frequently cut short, they present very uncouth appearance. Most of the time, you can take a lot of these descriptions with a grain of salt because they mixed out a lot of the phenotypes here, right? Especially the straight hair, right? So the straight hair is going to be the biggest hump that us as a community has to get over. But the biggest thing about that is they breeded out the straight hair out. And what I was talking to my mom today about was how Black Americans can have a kid with another Black American. You know, our kid can be anything they want to be. It is because of how mixed our race has been, especially Black Americans. I'm only talking about melanated Americans now. We've been so mixed that any phenotype can rise up. Our kid can have straight hair that looks like an Indian from the 1800s. So that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that we've been mixed out throughout the wazoo, bro. Any type of culture you want to think of, there are so many dead cultures now. Aboriginals is just gone. But who were the people he was describing? We just heard him talk. What was he saying? We literally just heard him talk. Who was he describing, y'all? Bushy hair, black, deep-set eyes, thick nostrils, thick lips. Who was he describing? Let's get on to the next. All right, it says the question of beard has been much mooted. Some travelers asserting that they are bearded like Turks. At Bodega Bay, they are ugly and brutish race, many with Negro profiles. It says page 103. They are physically an inferior race and have flat, unmeaning features. Long, coarse, straight black hair, big mouths, and very dark skin. We got Revere's Tour, page 120. Large and strong, their color being the same of that of the whole territory. Morell's Journal, page 47. It is to be said of the natives of Sacramento Valley that their growth is short and stunted. They have short, thick necks and clumsy heads. The forehead is low, the nose flat with broad nostrils, the eyes very narrow and showing no intelligence. The cheekbones prominent and and a mouth large. Now y'all see their racist views coming out. So there's no reason to lie about what these people look like. They're racist. They don't even like them. So let's keep going. The teeth are white, but they do not stand in even rows, and their heads are covered by short, thick, rough hair. Short, thick, rough hair, you guys. Their color is a dirty yellowish brown. Now remember, when we get to this antiqual sources, they never seen a color that looked like ours. They never seen a mahogany copper colored person. They've only seen very dark and yellowish, in a yellowish tannish color. So when they come over here, this is why a lot of the sources, they had to start making new words. That's why they started using words like black and swarthy, because they had no word for it, right? If you've never seen a color before, right, and it's a certain type of blue, you're just gonna call it blue because you have no name for it. So until we had names like indigo, until we had names like teal, aquamarine, then we started calling those aquamarine and not blue. So understand it like this: they ain't never seen a color like that. So they slowly started calling them copper colored race because that's the best reflector to it. But anything else, they ain't never seen it before. That's what I'm trying to show you. It says Piper Second Journal, page 307. This race of Indians probably inferior to all others on the continent. See how they get in their racist views that quick. Many of them are diminutive in stature, but they do not lack muscular strength, and we saw some who were tall and well formed. Their complexion is a dark mahogany or nearly black. Their face is round and square with features approximating nearer to the African than the Indian. Wide, enormous mouths, noses nearly flat, and hair straight, you guys. You see what they're saying? They're saying these people have African profiles. Now I'm telling you all, ain't nobody from Africa. These people said they went to California. This is Sacramento Valley. This is the Ohlone tribe that I showed y'all that got whitewashed a couple episodes ago. All right, this next one might be a little bit hard to read, but I'm gonna read it for you guys. It says right here, a great diversity of physiognomy was noticeable. Pickery's Races in the U.S., Volume 9, page 105 to 107. On the Sacramento were fine, robust men of low stature and badly formed. Wilkes' Narration in the U.S., Volume 5, page 198. The mouth is very large and the nose broad and depressed, chiefly distinguished by their dark color, broad faces, and low forehead. Hale's Ethnology in the U.S., Volume 11, page 222. Their features are coarse, broad, and a dark chocolate color. Taylor in California, November 2nd, 1860. At Drake's Bay, just above San Francisco, the men are commonly so strong a body that which 2 or 3 of our men could hardly bear, one of them could take upon his back and without grudging carry it easily away. So these people are 2 times, 3 times stronger than the Europeans. It says, and strongly carried away up a hill and down a hill, and English mile together, right? Then this one is in French, not French, in Spanish. We're going to skip this one. This one is Vida de Junipero Serra, page 215. Ugly, stupid, and savage. Otherwise, they are well-formed, tolerably tall, and a dark brown complexion. The women are short and very ugly. They have much of the Negro in their countenance. So y'all see the racist views already starting now. Now, they want to connect Negro so bad. We can see where they're going with it, right? You can see where it goes. They come here and say, oh, these people look like Negroes. And now today we are known as Negro. So y'all see how this went. They saw and they said. That's Scots. The Bruces, not the Bruins, but it is the Bruins as well. They started the Stuarts. The Bruces, the Wallaces, the Stuarts, and many other lesser names were Normans and Flemings, you guys. So they were French. These were French people, you guys. Remember, do your research on French Huguenot Moors and you'll know where they come from. It is true they identified themselves with the earlier races and readily assumed the name and some ideas of their adopted country. So they looked like them, so they just took on everything else, you guys. This is what happens. I hope you guys can really see this. For men are very chameleons in their aptitude for taking on local color. You guys see this, bro? They're literally telling us right here that men are chameleons. What does that mean? They are going to mix in. They're going to have kids and mix in and become the same. But they were not Scots. The rank and file of their followers may have been Scottish, so they may have had some indigenous Scots in their ranks, right? But the people who brought it back, the royal families, were not Scottish, guys. They were Norman, right? This book thinks that just because they're Norman, they weren't Moors, but they were Moors as well, you guys. It says, for example, the good Sir James, the most loyal of the Bruce's knighthood, but he came of a race that boasted its ancient Aboriginal blood and bore a surname which signified the black man. You guys see this? And he himself, although by the time of the family name of Douglas, Doug, you guys, Doug and Glass both mean black. So his name literally means the blackety black. The Black Douglas. We'll get into it right here. It says, had likely enough made more than one alliances with the whites, he himself of black and swart complexion, according to Godscroft, for which cause he was known as a foes as the Black Douglas. So this is big, you guys. It's literally telling us right here that there were white Douglases and black Douglases. This I've been saying the whole time, you guys. We were so mixed from the jump. And this is why I tell you guys, there's people who have the chosen one mindsets. You guys will be lost because we're all mixed. You won't find a 100% Scottish person no more. You won't find those indigenous Scots. They're gone. This is what's sad about it, you guys. There's so many different cultures that have been gone now. Like so much culture, so much just knowledge just lost. We're talking about ancient Scots and Picts. I bet you half y'all haven't even heard of a Pict. So this is like ancient knowledge that is, I'm sad that this is gone because we could have learned some cool stuff from these people. But let's keep going. Thus, although his high birth and all the chivalrous qualities attributed to him by Barber, rendering him a splendid specimen of brave and courteous gentleman, although he died in battle with the Saracens of Spain, he was actually in some degree a Moor or Saracen himself. See, what I was telling you guys is they just call people Moors just if they're dark, right? So it was telling us right now that the Scots were in war with dark people. This is what I was telling you guys. I was telling you guys this, right? So it was telling you, in fact, he was a Moor or Saracen himself. So really what they're saying is he's an Aboriginal Scot and they were at war with Aboriginal Scots. So it says, in fact, he was one of them himself. And further this, Moorish blood must have run in the veins. And I think it says in the veins of Scots. So yes, they mixed in, you guys. So I'm going to leave you out this. Just know that there are multiple branches of dark-skinned people who have different agendas that they want to accomplish, you guys. So we must do our genealogy and know where these people come from. Look at last names, everything like that. Love y'all, family. I'll see you tomorrow.
Here's why calling white people Caucasian is upholding white supremacy. So the name Caucasian actually refers to the indigenous people of the Caucasus Mountains of West Asia. The irony is that a lot of the actual Caucasians wouldn't even be considered Caucasian in America. How did this happen? In the late 1700s, a racist German pseudoscientist named Johann Blumenbach created a pseudoscientific racial classification on how attractive he found different skull shapes to be. He had a collection. When he saw the skull of a Georgian woman from the Caucasus, he determined it to be the most beautiful, and thus being the white supremacist that he was, concluded that all white people originate in the Caucasus Mountain. From that, he created a racial hierarchy. Everyone else under. This is blatantly false. There is no biological basis for race, and all people originate in Africa. White people are no exception. It's time to phase out this deeply racist language and give the actual Caucasians their regional identity back. Here is why calling white people
the black medieval Scottish inhabitants of the British Isles. Thus, the legends and the history of the Scottish Highlands are both witnesses to the existence of purely black people. The Scots were so called from their swarthy complexion, that is to say, their black complexion. Last century, when Martin described the Western Islands of Scotland, he remarked that the complexion of the natives of Skye was, for the most part, black. Of the natives of Jura, he said that they were generally black of complexion, and of Arran that they were generally brown, and some of a black complexion. The inhabitants of the Isle Giguet presented a greater mixture. They were fair or brown in complexion. Here's a coin of King David II of Scotland, who reigned from 1329 to 1371. There was an Edinburgh writer, George Hume, age 30, marked as a black man, whose color would no doubt suit the West Indies. Edinburgh, being the capital of Scotland,